everybody. How are you doing? It is Tuesday. It is 7 o'clock, and this is the time Candid Talks with Dr. K. I am your host, Dr. Carrie, and some more. And guess what, y'all? Last week, I couldn't go live. Do you know why? Somebody hacked my Facebook page. 7 days off of Facebook, but I am so happy I am back on here with you. And guess what? We are coming in hot today. So you guys know it's tax season. People are getting their money back and y'all are wasting it. You're getting your hair done, getting your nails done, and you're not investing. You're not investing in yourself. No, I'm not fussing at you. I'm just trying to help you. So guess what I did just to help you out? We're having a candid talk with two amazing ladies. I call them the wealth ambassadors, right? It's none other than the passive wealth group. I've got Lakeisha Herrera and Nicole Redmond on here. So before you do anything else, go ahead and do me a favor. Click that button, share it. Because you know you have some girlfriends, you have some guy friends, some family members that need to know how to save their money. But this is more than saving their money. This is building generational wealth. This is getting you out of debt, putting money in your pocket, and putting money in your great-grandchildren's pocket. Are y'all ready to hear? Well, this is what we do. We dive in immediately. Don't forget to drop your comments in the chat. Are y'all ready for these ladies? Well, here they are. We've got Nicole Redmond and we've got Lakeisha Herrera. Thank you for having a candid talk with me, ladies. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Creators Rising.
Yes, Keisha, I think you are muted. Unmute your phone for me, please.
There we go. There you go. Thank you for having us. So excited.
Yes.
I am very excited to have you guys. Listen, if you haven't followed these ladies, you have to do it right now. So go ahead and look at your device, type in Passive Wealth Group. Click that follow button and begin to follow them because they give a lot of insightful information about wealth, really wealth. So are we ready to have our candid talk, ladies?
Absolutely.
I'm ready.
All right. Nicole, Lakeisha, do me a favor and just tell our listening audience who you are. We'll just start that way.
Keisha?
Okay. So we are Passive Wealth Group, two women that have made the decision to collaborate with one another. We share a journey of mentor and mentee between the both of us in our journey. And so we decided to begin this group to educate others on passive wealth and passive income, because these are things that we are very passionate about. And we know that it's something that is deeply needed within our community. And we just wanted to use the platform to teach others how to, get passive income and passive wealth for their families.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
So we keep hearing the word passive wealth. You know what, Nicole? Please introduce yourself. I apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I am Nicole Redmond. I'm a wealth independence navigation coach. And just to piggyback off of what Coach Keisha said, like I said, we are mentor and mentee. We have known each other for several years. I'm a big person on financial wealth, legacy. I'm big on legacy and I'm big on lifestyle. So with Keisha's background and my background, we just decided to collaborate. From our journeys together, and we brought forth Passive Wealth Group to educate, and we are here. We're here to educate. We're here to teach people. We're here to build communities. And once again, I am big on lifestyle because that is what really dictates your passive wealth.
Okay, so we've heard the word passive wealth. When you think of passive wealth, because I'm thinking of our average listener out there, right, who may or may not have an understanding of what passive wealth is. What is it?
So I would give a quick definition of passive wealth. It's basically an income strategy or vehicle that is used to produce income with minimum effort, and without being actively involved in the process of generating income. So that's what passive wealth is. And it continues to grow over time. There is no set amount of time that it ends. it just continues to grow versus active income or active wealth is that you have to be consistently involved in the day-to-day operation of generating income. So
Yeah.
that's in short what passive income is versus active income or passive wealth.
So it sounds to me like making money in your sleep.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Yes.
I
Yes.
love that. I
Yes.
absolutely love that idea.
Me
Making
too.
making money in your sleep. So you guys hear that? If you want to just start making money in your sleep, you got to tune in. You got to share. You got to listen. You got to book these ladies, right? So what inspired you to do that? Is this something that you grew up with? Have you always been
Oh my
passionate
goodness.
about passive wealth, or how did you get into this?
Mm. I'll answer this question. I am prior service. I worked in corporate America for 17 years. Matter of fact, I just retired from corporate America last March. I worked on a military base for 17 years, and I got into passive wealth because I wanted to have the freedom, like Lakeisha said, of having a lifestyle for myself, and because one of my first businesses, my slogan was "Leave a legacy behind, not a liability." I noticed a lot when I had my first business of helping people with credit repair that people had a lot of liabilities, and it wasn't liabilities because of what they had. It was because of liabilities of what they didn't know, and that really weighed heavy in my heart and my spirit because a lot of us had more liabilities with things of credit, things of bill stacking, things of pouring into family members. We have the creativity to want to do things in our families and our communities. We just didn't have the knowledge of how to do it. So I was very passionate about learning how can I create a legacy for myself and my family without having to do it the traditional way. I know it's possible because I've seen other people do it. I've seen other people like me do it. So that's how I, got into wanting to learn something different about learning passive wealth. And I attribute my first passive wealth stream is when I published my first book. I put it in a consignment store, and this is very small. And this is mindset. This is what me and Coach Keisha teach. I had published my first book, and instead of me taking my earnings from my first book in a consignment store, and I did this with a business called Word Unite Bookstore. I don't know if you know Ashley Knight. She was the owner of Word Unite Bookstore. She had it in the PX at Clear Creek on Post, and I would get those earnings, and instead of me spending it, I would take those earnings and invest it in stocks. So I just moved that money from one place to another and build up my stocks, no matter how small it was. It was mindset, and it started a habit. And this is some of the things that people can do just as small to build passive wealth. It doesn't have to be big, but that's just a part of it. It's just one area, and real estate is another. So I could get long winded, but that's just how I got into it. It's just different strategies, and like Coach Keisha said, it's the freedom, it's building it up, it's the lifestyle, it's so many different things.
And it's not something that's taught, right?
No,
This
it's
is not
not.
something that's typically taught in a lot of homes. This is something that as you grow and you become experienced, or you are exposed, or you have that access to different resources, then it is something that is caught, right?
Yes.
There's some things
Yes.
that are taught and there's some things that are caught. And this is
Yes.
one of them.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What about you, Keisha? Like, what inspired you to embark on this journey of passive wealth?
I'm gonna be honest, I like money. That's what it boiled down to. I like money and I don't want to work hard for it. So my biggest thing was how can I generate money without having to work hard?
Yeah.
I didn't want to work hard. I come from a single parent home and I watched my mom work hard. Even with my dad, even to this day, they work very hard and I just didn't want that for myself. So when I began to start looking at other avenues, exploring different books. So one of the books that I read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that book literally transformed my entire mindset, my entire life. I credit that book for a lot of the things that I'm experiencing today. And I read that book over 20 years ago. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it talks about those two dads, one who believes the traditional way, you gotta, get the great education, get the great job, work hard, then retire. And then you have this other dad who is basically just living his best life, and teaching a different principle of you don't work for money, you work for knowledge. And
Mhm.
so when I learned that, that's what helped me understand how to become, wealthy and develop passive income and passive wealth and pass those things down for my kids. I just wanted them to have a different leverage
Yeah.
than what I had. So I just felt like that was the best route to go. So that my thing really started off with just I just wanted to make money and not do a lot of work to get it.
And not do it, and not work hard for it. So
Right. And
basically,
not
you
work
wanted
hard
your
for it.
money to work for you.
Yes.
Exactly, exactly. And but like I was saying earlier, we don't have a lot of examples of that. We are taught work hard, work hard, work hard. But when you're looking at other people that have these, wealthy lives and it don't look like that they're working that hard. So it's like, wait a minute, I think I want that side of wealth, not the work hard, work hard. And so that Rich Dad, Poor Dad book really helped open up my understanding of how wealth building is and how it works. So that
Awesome.
was my journey.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hey guys, if you're just clocking in right now and you're wondering what it is that we're talking about, we're talking to the Passive Wealth Group. You guys know you're getting your tax dollars back and you're already thinking of getting the Beyonce tickets or the Kendrick Lamar tickets. And all of that stuff is great. But what are you doing to invest in your future? You're getting the answers right here, right? You have the Passive Wealth Group. They're going to talk to you about tips and tricks of how you can begin a journey of wealth, generational wealth for your grandchildren and your great grandchildren. And so, how does somebody get started, Nicole, Keisha, right? We talked about different ways. You talked about the stocks, you talked about different ways to get started. What is a strategy? Like, how can a beginner, right, can say, okay, I'm just beginning, I want to get started in this?
Well, if they're coming through Passive Wealth Group,
Yeah.
they're going to get started, through short-term rentals in the real estate industry. But
Okay.
one of the things that, I teach personally and that me and Lakeisha are going to be teaching in the very near future is leverage. Lakeisha knows I'm big on the keyword leveraging,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing your position. This is another key thing about passive wealth. And I think this is where a lot of people get a misconception about passive wealth is that they see a lot of people out there saying they're making six figures and they're doing all this and that. And, a lot of people, when I was doing credit repair, I noticed that there are a lot of people in survivor mode. And when I say survivor mode, I'm talking about they are in need of money. And they need to pay bills. They need to get out of a situation, and that need is very much valid. But when they come to someone who has what they need because they see them with six figures and they see them with the nice cars and the different things, and they offer them a product, that product might not meet their need in the long run. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? Because they don't know their position and how to leverage it.
Right.
So when you know your position and how to leverage it, then your need is actually met. And that's one of the things I love about myself and Coach Keisha is that we meet you where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
And we coach you through that. So when you're talking about passive wealth, we want to understand where you're at before we get you involved in something that might not meet your need.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that to me is very important because you don't want to set somebody up for failure when it comes to their lifestyle and what they're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
We try to make that very clear. And then I want to be very clear when I say that passive wealth is not linear. Okay. Passive wealth is not linear. There's so many different options out there when it comes to passive wealth, which is why I said you really have to know your position. So I probably didn't answer that question fully. But once again, if you're coming to Passive Wealth Group, that is what we're going to introduce you to, is through the option of real estate entry through short-term rentals. But there are tons of options out there, and knowing your position and leveraging it is very important.
Mhm.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, I would tell a beginner to first start small. You
Yes.
know, I know we have the Instagram and the Facebooks and different things like that, and we see what other people are doing. And most times, you get beginners that want to jump into investing in any type of revenue stream, and they expect that big, large, massive returns, and the I like to say hoopla,
Hoopla.
but the big hoopla of things, the fanfare, and not recognizing that it does start off small. Start with things that you understand. I'm a advocate for do not invest in things that you don't understand.
Mhm.
I invest in real estate because that is something that I've always been passionate about since I was young, and I understand it.
Right.
Understand real estate. I understand business. I'm not. Tried to do trading that lasted 3 days because I didn't understand it. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to do this until I understand it. So I would
Mhm.
say get an understanding of the different investments that you want to invest in and what feels comfortable for you and for your lifestyle. Because short-term rental might not be for everybody. I talk to a lot of people. They're like, I don't want to be dealing with that. I get it. Some
Mhm.
people just want to be investors. I just want to give you my money and you go invest it. So, there are so many different avenues that they can take to be able to do that. But I will always say start small and start with the thing that you understand. Get an understanding first.
Awesome, awesome. In all things that we do, get understanding.
Amen to that.
I love it. And so you said coming through the passive wealth group, the avenue or the journey that you take is short-term rentals. Talk to me a little bit about what that looks like. If somebody's listening right now and they say, "Wow, okay, this sounds interesting. What would I need to do and how do I connect?" Talk to me about somebody working with the passive wealth group, what that journey might look like.
So when someone comes to us and they're saying, "Hey, I'm interested in short-term rental," we have different options for them. We have some individuals that are very hands-on, so they want to be very active in their business. And then what we do is we take them through the master class. They go through that master class, and then we walk with them to help them understand what it is that they just went through that class, and then we give them the different procedures and stuff like that so that they'll be able to execute the plan. Then there are some who do not want to be hands-on. They're like, "Hey, I just want you to do it for me, and then I'll take over from there," or "I just need somebody to just manage it, take over." So we basically do a initial assessment to see what their goals are and how does their lifestyle fit with short-term rentals. We try to find out, if they already have property. If they don't have property, do they want to own it or do they want to rent property? So we go through those different questionnaires and process with them so that we can get an understanding of exactly where they're at so that we can provide them the service that they need. Like Nicole was saying earlier, we don't want to just sell you something that's not going to be beneficial to you, but we want to make sure that it's a product that you're going to actually use and that you need for your current journey. So that's basically how that process goes. They're either going to go through the master class, which we highly recommend,
Mhm.
to get that understanding and that knowledge, or we'll just, it's kind of like a business in a box. We'll do everything for you, and then we mentor you through that process, through that journey, so you'll have an understanding of how your business work and operate.
Okay. All right. So the short-term rentals, is that like flipping houses? Is it sweat equity? Is
So
it
short-term rental is a property that is used kind of like a hotel to some degree. It's basically using it. It's a residential home that is used for individuals that are traveling, and so those individuals book those units or rooms or homes because you can
Mhm.
have a bedroom, just a bedroom in your home. as a short-term rental, or you can rent out the entire house. There are so many things you can rent out. You can rent out a RV, you can rent out a storage shed, you can rent out a bedroom, you can rent out the entire home. So all of those things can be rented at a daily rate, daily or monthly rate. And so with those different options, is that's why it's called short-term rental, because they're not staying in there long term. So the difference between the long term and the short-term rental, long term is typically an individual that signs a lease. With short-term rental, you're not signing a lease. You're basically just booking it like a hotel. I'm just staying here for a couple of days. I'm traveling. I'm checking in and I'm checking out. So that's basically what a short-term rental is.
That is really clever.
Yeah.
And so
Very.
it's kind of like peer space, because people do that
Mhm.
for offices and, for projects. That is really, really
Yeah,
clever.
it's exactly like peer space.
All right, guys. So if you're listening and you know that you need some money in your pocket, or your pocket is burning because you just got your taxes and you're trying to figure out how to double or triple that, you need to go ahead and link with these, what I call wealth ambassadors, right? You can go ahead right here to their website on passivewealthgroup.com and see how you can build generational wealth by increasing your income and leveraging something that you may already have.
Yes.
Go ahead and book them right now. If you're tuning in just now, hey guys, I'm talking to the Passive Wealth Group, and that is Nicole Redmond and Lakeisha Herrera. We're talking about wealth building. And so I'm sure there's some challenges to all of this. What are some of the challenges and risks that might be involved when we think about passive wealth, Nicole?
Some of the challenges is people may be overzealous and they're Keisha shaking her head. People may be overzealous and their goals don't align with reality. And this is why I say leverage your position and strategize. I think that's been the biggest, challenge. And when I say overzealous, for example, you might have someone who says they might want to, do short-term rentals, and then they get to short-term rentals and it's, they
They
might
want to
not.
make $1 million.
Yeah. or they get a short-term rental and then they realize they don't really want nobody in their home. You know what I mean? That is, it's been like that, so these are just things that happen, and it's lessons you learn along the way, and it's amazing because, this is part of the business part of it, so you really, this is why we sit down and we coach you through the process. We highly recommend the masterclass, because one of the things we strongly teach is mindset. Mindset is so important when it comes to passive wealth. Because once again, one of the things Coach Keisha said is, it's time freedom, is labor intensive. And one of the myths I want to definitely debunk about passive wealth is, just like with anything, you have to build the passive wealth. One of the things I used to drive me crazy is how they say, oh, you have 7 streams of income. That drove me crazy, because you have to build that, what I mean? And once you build that, there's called sustainability.
You have to sustain it.
So the myth of being overzealous and having goals that don't align with what you're trying to accomplish in the next 12, 18, 3 years or 5 years, making sure those align is very important.
Yeah. As you were talking about expecting a whole lot, like the hoopla, I remember when my books first started selling on Amazon, and I got an email that I had a royalty check come in, and I was like, oh yes, it's gonna be thousands. And I got that first royalty check and it was like $9. I'm like, what is this? Like, what is this mess? Right? But after years now, I think I have 5 books on there, and just that consistency, you see that those royalty checks will build, right? Or even having films on Amazon Prime, it's like, okay, when is it going to build? But you have to be patient and you have to be consistent with the process. And so what would be some of the misconceptions, right, that individuals go into passive wealth with? besides wanting $1 million right away. Because I remember the first time I talked to Keisha about passive wealth, I was like, ooh, I can go ahead and put some money into this house and I'm going to get 100,000. and I was like, oh yeah, I don't think it's going to work like that. But I mean, that thought came and left, like in the same second that it did.
Getting rich overnight. I mean,
Yeah, I was about to say the biggest misconception is just that the instant gratification, getting rich overnight, and also that there is no work involved.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when people hear the word passive, they automatically, it's almost like this picture pops into their mind of someone just sitting back on the couch, folding their arms, you know, sipping tea and kicking their feet in the air and, you know, enjoying these yacht cruises. Like, it's like this relaxed mindset. And I have fallen victim to that myself. Like, this should be way more easier, you know, but there is initial work that takes place
Yeah.
that has to happen. And that's the biggest misconception that I find with people, you know, with generating passive income. You know, passive wealth is more of a generational thing because
yes,
we're talking about wealth that is going to sustain a family and generations to come.
yes,
Passive income is the amount, the cash flow that's
Right.
coming in passively that did not require a lot of effort or work. But most people don't recognize it was labor intensive
At
at
the
the
beginning.
beginning.
oh no,
Exactly. You know, when I started my Airbnb, I did the video footage and everything, and me tearing off cabinets and ripping up the floors and repainting it. That's labor intense. You know, I had to actually put in that work. I had to
Mm-hmm.
spend money to get those things done. And so now it's 3 years in, and I can honestly say it has definitely been a blessing and passive for me because I literally work on my short term rentals maybe about 2 hours a week,
Yeah.
if that. And sometimes, you know, if I have a booking that's lasts for more than, you know, a few days or whatever, they lasting for a month, then there's no work at all required, you know. And just to give an example of that, I have a guy who's been in my unit since October. It's March.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't call me, he don't text me, he don't bother me. Is the system automatically does the work for me. So I just sit back and just watch the deposit come in, and that's it. So that would be passive income, but I had to put in that work up front. So that is a huge misconception. We had a client like that, we ended up having to drop, and I told Nicole, I just drop them. We're not dealing with this person
Yeah.
because they have false expectations
oh,
that
Mm-hmm.
come on.
it's just not real, you know. He didn't want to put in any work. So that is a big misconception that I have to stress to people. You have to put in some work at the beginning or money, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yep.
All right. So you guys heard that out there. You have to do some work, right? So this is passive income. You do the work at the beginning, and then it can be smooth sailing later on, but you got to do some work. Keisha and Nicole, thank you so much for being here with us. Hey guys, this is the flyer for their master class. You can book them on the Passive Wealth GRP, PassiveWealthGRP.com. And this is the master class they were talking about. This class is valued at $1,400, but it's only being offered for $197. That is a very, very low cost for you to make money, money, money. That's after you do the work, of course. And coming up on April 12th, there is a brunch and learn. Brunch and learn. You have the opportunity to unlocking your power to create wealth. So you heard a tidbit of what they said here on this show. If you want to know more about it, go ahead and scan the QR code or just go ahead and hit them up on Passive Wealth, GRP.com, and go ahead and feed your wealth vision, leverage your position, and strategize your plan to put money in your pockets and your children's pocket. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. I like what you're doing. You are truly building up our community. I'm going to let you guys have the last word. If you can just tell us where individuals can book you, and what do you want to say to the people out there before we let you go?
So I will say that first of all, passive income and building generational wealth is very important, especially if you want to leave that legacy and not a liability. Like Coach Queen Red said, I've always loved that phrase. And if you want to book either of us, you can go to passivewealthgrp.com. Submit in your request. There is a form that you can submit, and then we'll be able to, our staff will get with you and set you up an appointment, and you can do a one-on-one coaching session with us. Follow me on social media platforms, Lakeisha Herrera on Facebook, also Coaching Your Greatness as well, on Facebook and also Instagram.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Dr. K. You can follow me at Queen Red Win Coach and Win Capital Consulting LLC. I am looking forward to April 12th. Once again, please go ahead and scan that QR code. You do not want to miss that. Unlocking your power to create your wealth. You don't want to miss that. That's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, both of you. Hey guys, next week we got another locomotive on the train, and that is seriously Sandra from the Veterans Voice. She's coming to talk to us, Lord, about all things veterans. You know that she's a very, very funny lady, but she's going to talk about some serious issues, and that is things facing our veterans populations right here in the community. But you can also catch me this weekend. There will be the Arts and Chats. That is a TED Talk-like event for our kiddos. You're going to hear them giving their thought leadership, 4-minute speeches, as well as showcasing their artwork. So go ahead and join me this Saturday at the Killeen Arts and Activity Center. If you happen to be in Killeen, this is all for our kiddos, middle schoolers. Guys, we always talk about these kids don't know how to talk. Yes, they do. They wrote their speeches and they will be delivering their speeches. So come over and support them, check out their artwork, and see everything that they have. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next week on having a candid talk. We're going to be talking with Seriously Sandra about our veterans. See you guys next week. Thank you and goodbye.